YouTube, this is Pam from Pam Entertainment TV. We've got another review of the What If series. We're in season 1. We're in episode 6, and it's entitled, I'm reading it off my screen, What If Killmonger Rescued Tony Stark? Okay? Basically, this particular episode was about Tony Stark, and what if Tony Stark did not become Iron Man? Basically, we start off with Tony in Afghanistan, like he was in in the movie Iron Man. Going to Afghanistan, his convoy is hijacked. However, Tony Stark is not hit. Tony Stark is not taken hostage. Tony Stark is rescued. And he's rescued by Eric Stevens, aka Killmonger, who was voiced by Michael B. Jordan. I was going to go back and see the voices of who was voicing who. Let's get back here to see who was voicing who. But I know that Michael B. Jordan is voiced here. Let's see. We got Jeffrey Wright, who's the Watcher. Michael B. Jordan. Jon Favreau, who's Happy. We got Chadwick Boseman again, R.I.P. We got Angela Bassett. We got Denai Guerra. We've got Andy Serkis. We've got Don Cheadle and Paul Bettany. John Canny. So I don't know the rest of these people. They're voicing people. I don't know who they're voicing. So we don't have Robert Downey Jr. voicing Tony Stark. So one of the other the people that I spoke is going to be voicing Tony Stark's character, which is fine. Overall, this episode was a good episode. It wasn't my favorite. I still think What If T'Challa Was Star-Lord is my favorite episode so far, followed by Doctor Strange's episode. That episode was more heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching for me, just to see how when you don't go through the stages of grief, how you can mess around and just tear up the world. In his case, a whole universe. But in our cases, and when we talk about us as just being human, you know, how we are grieving, and because we're grieving, and because we're angry about grieving, or because we're in denial about the grief, about that person being gone, that our actions within those stages can cause havoc and chaos within the world. So that was one of the reasons why so far that those 2 episodes are on my top 2. This episode, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just enjoying the fact that Michael B. Jordan is voiced in the episode. Angela Bassett has made a return. She's voicing it in the episode, and I'm loving. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm loving the fact of Angela Bassett's role in this episode. They've made Shuri really basically a little girl, but I guess that does work out like that. She would be younger in this period of time of the episode. She wouldn't be as old as she is when we first meet her in the Black Panther movie as Shuri after her father has passed away. She wouldn't be that old at that point, because this happens much earlier. And I'm not sure of the breakdown between the time limit between Iron Man and Black Panther, as far as what's that time limit, how many years have passed in between there. I'm going to assume it was probably 4 or 5 years. That's my assumption. Just because of the fact that at this time period, Shuri is much younger. Shuri seems to be 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. 10, she's anywhere from 10 to 14. She's somewhere in between there. That's what she's giving. But what if people, let me explain something to y'all. Y'all drew these people fine. You got Killmonger's character out there fine as I don't know what. You got Chadwick's character in here, because you didn't draw him like this in other movie, but you got him fine all up in that Black Panther suit. You got Angela Bassett's character. She looking good. Denaya's looking good. You got these people looking good. You drew them nice. I ain't gonna hold y'all. They look good. Who drew them? Who was the illustrator? I need to know this. I need to know. Let me see. As we go on, will they mention the illustrator in the first part? Baby, because y'all drew them. They look nice. I ain't gonna hold you. Because I should not have been feeling the way I felt when I saw Killmonger in that in his dress whites, standing up on that stage. Okay, let's get into the movie. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the series opens up again with Tony Stark in the convoy in Afghanistan. It gets blown up, but at this point, Killmonger comes and he saves the day. Because Killmonger comes and saves the day, we don't get Iron Man. Tony doesn't get hurt. So they go back to New York. Tony holds a press conference talking about how wonderful Killmonger was in saving him. He makes him the head of security. Happy's a little pissed off because he's like, wait a minute, that was supposed to have been my job. Obadiah Stane, I know his name is Obadiah. I don't know if Stane is his last name. I'm just going to say Obadiah for right now, because I'm not sure if that was his last name. But Obadiah is trying to get them all off the stage. The reporter is asking questions of Eric Stevens, aka Killmonger, like, hey, your unit was too far away. You wouldn't have been able to get there in time. What were you doing there? That's all he needed, was a little opportunity. He starts talking about he was in deep cover. He knew of the assassination attempt against Tony Stark, because he was working deep cover in the Ten Rings organization, and he found out that Tony's assassination attempt was headed by Obadiah Stane. Obadiah was like, oh, this man don't know what he's talking about. And then, in true Killmonger fashion, oh, I got some receipts. He said, oh, I got receipts. And he clicks and he starts showing all the little stuff. They take Obadiah away. Tony is like, okay, I feel like I can trust this man. This man had my best interests at heart. And he makes him the COO, Chief Operating Officer of his company. And he is so happy with Eric Stevens that he decides that, hey, I understood that you went to MIT. Now, I'm going to stop right here, because Pepper had then asked Rhodey to do an investigation on Killmonger, Eric Stevens, and he starts reading off his accolades, and he's like, I don't see what the problem is. He's a good soldier, but how in the world that he was still a lieutenant, and he's gone to MIT and he's doing all this other stuff. But I digress. Maybe that's where Killmonger felt like he needed to be, but I was just like, lieutenant, all that. But anyway, I'm just sorry. It's my real world thing just kicking in. So Pepper is a little curious. She has some hesitations about him, but she can't really find out why she's having the hesitations, because everything he has on paper makes him look good. So as we continue, Tony and Killmonger decide that they're going to make Killmonger's MIT dissertation project, which was an AI robot built for combat so that soldiers wouldn't have to go out and die in combat. Sounds good, and they did that. That is exactly what they did. The problem was the power source, which is always the thing. And so Tony had come up with like the arc reactor And then he was like, nah, that's not it. So that's interesting because of the fact that Iron Man costumes were powered by the arc reactor. Then Killmonger talks about the vibranium, and then he shows his ring. And so Tony takes it and puts it in the machine. Killmonger decides, hey, why don't we use vibranium? They find a source. You know, that source is Ulysses' claw. That whole that whole scene plays out in Black Panther. That played out in Black Panther is playing out in this series, and it's still the same. They get with Ulysses' claw, and the whole thing transpires. They go to where Ulysses' claw is on the boat. Rhodey is making the deal with Ulysses to get the vibranium. He sees the vibranium, and then T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, comes in, and it's this whole excursion. Everybody's calling for Killmonger, but Killmonger is way back in the cut for some reason. He's not responding. Ulysses' claw fades into the black, and everybody is fighting and doing whatever. And then it comes to the part where T'Challa is looking at Rhodey because they were fighting, and Rhodey starts shooting at him, and he's Black Panther, so that doesn't always work out. T'Challa tells him, I'm not here for you. I'm just here to get what belongs to us, which is the vibranium. Before they have any big conversation, honey, here comes Killmonger with this machine that's some kind of sonic machine, and he kills Rhodey, and he kills T'Challa, and then he comes out clean as if he didn't do anything. It gets back, so that means that that means that T'Challa is dead, so they take his casket to Wakanda, and that means that Rhodey is dead, and so he comes back home in the flag draped casket. So the scene then transfers to I didn't realize I had that on my ear. The scene then transfers to Tony Stark sitting in his house. He's in the house and he's drinking. Killmonger comes in, acting like he doesn't know what's really going on. Like, hey, we're gonna make a fight. We're gonna bring the fight to somebody. The Wakandans did this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Da 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 da. Tony's like, no, I know you did it because Jarvis was watching the whole time and recording the whole scene. And I know that you killed Rhodey, and I know you killed T'Challa. People are gonna find out. Dum Tony, because again, he puts too much trust in technology. He puts too much trust in weaponry, thinking that that's going to overpower a person, and not really understanding the person that you're trying to overpower. So he wants to use the robot that Eric Stevens, aka, because I'm going to be going back between Eric Stevens and Killmonger, in Indaju. He tries to sick the weapon on Killmonger, but Killmonger is a soldier, and he figures out a way to disable the AI, make it unusable, and then he kills Tony Stark. And then what makes it so bad is that he then frames the Dora Milaje, the people who protect Wakanda, as the people who have killed Tony Stark. So he's playing, you realize at this point that he is playing both sides to the middle. He is playing a long game, and we've got to kind of figure out why he's playing that long game. But we know why he's playing that long game. But this time he is using his stint while he's in the military to do this. So he is basically, again, playing both sides to the middle because he wants to take over Wakanda so that he can then rule the world with their tech. That's what he wants. And, I mean, I understand it. I ain't mad at it. I understand it. Uh, don't agree with it, but I understand it. I'm just gonna be real. I understand it. So, basically, what happens is that they take the vibranium that they took from Claw. They make all of these weapons. The military takes over Stark's industry. They make all these weapons because they're declaring war against Wakanda. Which, if you look at the history of the U.S., that's basically what they do. You get one small country that does one small thing to you, and then you wage war. It has happened several times. You go and you use your military might to wage war instead of a diplomatic way to do something. It's just like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to try to talk to you. We're not going to try to figure anything out, because honestly, if they would have sat down and they would have talked to the Wakandans, they would have found out real quickly that somebody was playing both of them to the for fools. And if they would have had those conversations, but the U.S. doesn't want to do that. They want to use their might to crush you. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to crush you. It is what it is. Talk about it in the comments. So, Ulysses takes Eric to the edge of takes Killmonger to the edge of Wakanda, shows him how where it's at again, and it plays out again as it did in Black Panther. Killmonger kills Ulysses. He takes his body back to Wakanda to show that, hey, I am an ally, I'm not a threat. And he tells him that he's Indoju, son of Dajaka. The king knows, because I'm assuming they didn't show it, but I am assuming how Eric's father was killed in Black Panther is how he was killed within this series. Like I said, I'm making the assumption. They didn't show it, but I am making the assumption that that's what's happened. So, the AI robots come to Wakanda. Eric is then having to use all of his negotiating skills with T'Chaka to let him show him how to win this battle. And they trust him. They do what they say. They do what he asks about letting the AIs come in, and that the force field around Wakanda will deactivate them because they won't be able to link with their satellites. He does that, and everybody's okay. Hey, he knows what he's talking about. Then the AIs come back to life because he has the button that he presses so that the AIs will come to life again. So then he gets out, and the Dora Milaje. And you remember when I was talking about earlier how I'm loving how Angela Bassett's character, we find out that she's the general of the army. She's the general of the Wakandan army. So she gets out there and she's fighting, and it was just good to see her out there like, oh, she really getting it. She the general. The king married the general. Go ahead, Angela. That's not her name in the series, but I will go back and forth with what their names are. If I know their names in the series, I will say it. If I don't, then I will call them by their the actor's name. So I apologize for that. I know some people like for you to stick in just talk about the characters and use their character name. I'm gonna be going back and forth. All right. They do this, and it ends up they win the battle. The United States gets defeated. They make Killmonger the new Black Panther. So when he takes the purple herb and then he goes into the ancestral plane, he, instead of sitting up and seeing his father, he sits up and he sees T'Challa. And T'Challa's like, okay, was it worth it? I mean, what are you doing? And basically it was Killmonger after all. Sorry. We knew it was Killmonger in the beginning. But he tells T'Challa what his plans are, and T'Challa just warns him, you went and got power by deceit, and guilt and all those things, and it's not going to work out good for you. So that's where the episode ends. We see Killmonger doing and being the Black Panther. Like I said, the episode, it was good. And like I said, the characters were drawn beautifully. They look good. I'm going to hopefully put some of the characters on the screen here. You know, I'm still working on my editing. But they were drawn good. Oh! At the end, we see Shuri going to Pepper Potts with the proof that Killmonger was the one that set all this in motion. So I don't know if they're going to be able to stop him or not, but they're going to do their damnedest to do so. Again, this episode was good. It wasn't in my top 3, but I enjoyed it. I can't wait to the next episode. So tell me what you liked about it, and if you like this video, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment in the video so I know that you